Murty, thank you very much for joining us as part of Positive Ageing Week 2020. I wonder, just for our viewers here today, if you would introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about what you do and the services that you're involved in.
Hello, my name is Murty Brennan and I am the chairperson of the Twilight community group here in Kilkenny, also the Polish Consular to the Republic of Ireland, and I work closely with the Seniors Forum and Age Action, where I would be the PRO for the Kilkenny Seniors Council.
Okay, that's a busy schedule of a lot of things. So I suppose because we're here about Positive Ageing Week, and we've met some of the members of the Twilight group as well who've been sharing their stories. I suppose, can I ask you, what's your view on life for the elders and what we can do and make it good, and what can we do to get out there?
Yeah, well, I'm a great believer in that we would keep our seniors and our elderly in the community. I mean, they have so much to offer. I mean, you can send all our students can go to whatever university they wish, and they can come out with all the degrees, but the one thing they'll never get is the degree of life which our seniors have. And I think we could learn an awful lot from working from intergenerational programs, where obviously our seniors are not very au fait with the likes of the IT programs, but our younger education or younger groups are. So we could do kind of a dual education system there, where the younger people can assist the seniors in IT. But the most important thing then is, wouldn't the younger people learn an awful lot from just talking to the seniors?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you were sharing a lovely story, if it's okay to ask, about the woman that you saw out there doing things. Would it be okay to tell a little about?
My mother would have grown up on a small farm holding. Okay, it was only about 15 acres or so, but there was she had one sister and two brothers, and each one of them would have lived on this little farm holding, and her mother and her father, my grandparents, would have worked on the land, and they never wanted for anything. I mean, I would have spent a lot of time out there, and you know, there would be the chickens running around the yard, and compulsory cockerel that would make sure you knew what time it was in the morning, a bit early. And of course then they had the cattle and milking cows, and yes, we would have helped in milking cows when I was a young child. And also then I can remember carrying the milk up in the stainless buckets up, and you pour them into the butter churn, you put a bit of linen across the churn just to take out any dust or dirt or anything like that, so there would be warm, unpasteurised milk. But my grandmother was a tall lady. She was 6'2", and she would always come into town on a Friday, and she would be dressed in black on her very high Nelly. And she had a routine where she would go to all the different shops and bring those messages home, and that was her Friday routine, and she wouldn't be back into town again until the following Friday. But she was full of life. I mean, it would take nothing for her to walk down across the whole farm and bring in cattle, go to milking and do everything. And then she taught me how to use a butter churn to make butter. We had a little wooden one just inside the door. And unfortunately, at the age of 88, now she was a very young 88-year-old, she slipped and cracked her hip. And she ended up then in hospital and spent a few months in Thomastown convalescing. And unfortunately, she never got back home to the farm, okay? And in those days, as you probably remember, like, I mean, if a child got married, they built on another room to the side of the house, and then you had the grandparents, you had the parents, you had the grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And in our case, I remember out there, one of her brothers came down and he built onto the side of the house, right? So he had a part in it as well. But she never went home, and she ended up staying in the city with one of her sons, right? Now, to see a young 88-year-old to suddenly becoming a very old 88-year-old was something that always stuck in my mind, right? And it just reminded me that, like, if our seniors can stay active in the community, their cognitive age will be a lot better, their physical activity will be a lot better, and unfortunately, we'll say, in the more affluent societies, we do have a tendency now of our seniors become a little bit of an inconvenience, for want of a better way of putting it. And nursing homes become a business. And we'll say that you see people then that are sent to these nursing homes, and again, for want of a better term, it can become like God's waiting room. And inevitably what happens is, the people who decide that that's the best place for them, and it could be for medical reasons or for whatever reason, I'm not criticising anyone that does it, but due to the time constraints on them, it's kind of, I'll call out to you every day, becomes once a week, becomes once a month, becomes just at Christmas and Easter or whatever. And it must be a very lonely way of living life. It has to be. And from what I saw in my grandmother was that it came from the stage of being very lively, to suddenly sitting in an armchair by a fire, to suddenly sitting in a wheelchair because her legs now were not as strong as they used to be. And the only time you'd see any kind of life and come back into the eyes would be when you'd mention the homestead and the farm, and then she would tell you stories about going down the Dunmore Mass Path and going into, all the different stories would come back to life, okay? But up to then, no, it was just kind of like it was sad to really see someone that was lively as that. So I think that if we can ensure that our seniors are involved, because we can learn so much from them. I mean, they've experienced life, and no matter, as I said earlier on, we say you can prepare for everything, you can get every education you like, but you can't prepare for life itself, what it's going to throw at you. And these seniors have that. They have that in their arsenal that they can say, well, simple little thing, well, I thought that when I was your age, but this is what happened. Okay, and it just can be so, we have to value them, we have to value their experience, we have to make sure that they stay healthy longer, which they are, right? Just a simple fact that a lot of people might not understand, that we'll say Nolan Park, right? We all know the size of Nolan Park, right? By the year 2040, if we put all the people over 65 into Nolan Park, there won't be a seat left. Now, I know Nicky Brennan mightn't like that thought because they give out free tickets to all the over 65s so that they get no money in for any of their GA games. But yet, by the year 2040, every seat in Nolan Park will be occupied by someone over the age of 65. And that's a massive, when you think of it that way, and that's only Kilkenny. Okay. So because of the way our medical interventions and science, people are going to live longer. There's no, we can't get around that. And it's great. Okay. So let's value them. Let's make sure that we get as much from that generation and from that demographic, and it'll assist everybody else.
Murty, I suppose the last few months things have changed, and I'm wondering from your experience, what are some of the things that we can do to encourage them to get out and be active, even with the restrictions that are here in place at the moment?
Well, unfortunately with COVID-19, it has frightened people. And I know of people who have not been out of the house since March. Okay. And what can become just a temporary idea that we must stay in can become permanent. And the issue can become now they're afraid to get out. And now they become more nearly obsessed with, I will get COVID if I go out. Okay. Now, unfortunately, it might come to the stage that we're going to have to live with COVID for a long time, so we have to ensure that we don't. So we have to work with our seniors, okay? Provide safe places for them to go. Okay, it could be something as simple as an afternoon bingo, but they know that all the COVID, 2 meters distance and everything could be done. Okay, that's a simple little thing, right? I do think that the new little grandpads can be very, very useful, okay? Because the way they can set up, they can FaceTime with their children all over the country. Or, as what I was trying to explain to the guy who is hasn't been out since March, right? Yeah. Well, you can face with your next door neighbour. Yeah. You can, it's like having a conversation with the guy up the road, if he has one, or if his son has a laptop. So technology comes into it, and that's where we bring it back to the intergenerational work that has to be done. Reassurance is going to be a big thing, to reassure them that they can come back out again. I think that's going to be an important part for everybody to be involved in. unfortunately too, there can be some scaremongering that goes on as well, and I think social media has a lot to be. I don't know what way you'd put it. Yeah, pointed at that. We can't be going down the road of making all these scaremongering comments and, false comments. Yeah. Okay, and it can be a frightening experience now for a senior going to their local GP. It can, because it's changed. There's no waiting rooms anymore. There's no. You basically walk into. It's like walking into a surgical ward. And all the girls are wearing masks and you're sent into a room on your own, where I would have seen it in a lot of the waiting rooms where they're interacting with each other and they're just chatting. That's taken away from them. I think our local radios have a lot to do to help, okay? I mean, like they can put on programs that are specifically geared towards seniors, but I think they should also work on programs that are interactive programs. Okay, it could be just simple interaction between the listener and the presenter, and I'm sure the people in power and the radio stations can certainly come up with ideas to do that. Okay, TV is very important. I think that I saw in England where they've taken away the seniors license, and this is during COVID. It's totally unacceptable, right? So I would be totally against anything like that happening in Ireland. Because at the moment the TV is their lifeline. It's what they want to see. They want to watch their programs, and yourself. There must be some way that they can buy their bingo online. That bingo program that if you called to the house when that was on, you'd be murdered. So there's a lot of little things that we can do. Okay, and I genuinely think that it's all it takes is for people to sit down and talk. I don't think there's no problem that hasn't got a solution. Every problem has a solution. So by getting all the different people involved, but you must include the seniors and let the seniors tell us what they want rather than us trying to tell them what they want. I think that's the most important thing. But I just would love to see let's make sure that the Ireland seniors are a valued member of society, okay? And not only can they take from it, but to contribute. Yeah. And here's a small little fact that other people wouldn't understand, okay? Is if you notice now in the TV ads that even the Thai shows and the Thai companies are using seniors in their ads. Because the likes of Thais for Us and all these have discovered that it is actually the grandparents that spend more money on their grandchildren in the Thai shops, that they're their biggest customers. That's their biggest customers, is seniors. Because they're the ones that are buying the ties for the grandchildren. Plus, they do have that extra bit of cash because their house is paid for. Yeah. So there's a lot of little things that people would have to sit down and look at and see. One thing I think they should do for planning is something that I came across in Marne de Campion. We would have a friendship agreement with the municipal district over there through Twilight. And when I was over there, obviously, I would have visited their seniors, and it was a fantastic unit that they had supplied. There was about 200 seniors there, and they were having a dinner because it was in their seniors' hall, and the municipal district had provided it for them. And yeah, it's a fantastic facility, okay? And then when they brought us to a nursing home, they showed me what was going on in the nursing home, and each patient either had a patio door or they could step out onto a balcony, okay? So, and you brought in your own furniture. Okay, so it was like being at home. Well, that wasn't all. The biggest thing was it was built next door to a junior school. So all you heard all day was kids. And yes, the kids were playing the whole time, but then the children would come over once a week to talk to the seniors in the day room. Now, a child will ask any question. They won't hold back, okay? And I was asking them, what kind of questions are they asking? They said, the ones no one else will ask you, and the ones that we have a great laugh with, is why have you hair up your nose? Okay, right? Little things like that, okay? Or why is your hair white? The questions that, and the seniors love it. They laugh and they joke, and it's like, it as one woman said to me, it makes her feel young again, just to have the kids around the place. Yeah. So as I say, there's a lot of things we can do just by a little bit more thought. Yeah. And as I say, ask them what they want rather than us tell them what they want.
Libo, thank you very much for joining us as part of Positive Aging Week 2020.
Good morning. My name is Liviv, Iftime. I'm from the land of vampires. I'm Romanian. And I'm in Kilkenny since 2013. And I work in St. Luke's Hospital since 2015. I'm with the catering department over there. And I enjoy very much being here in Kilkenny. I think it's the most beautiful city of all in Ireland and in the world. I'm also a Romanian consultant with Twilight community group. And it is an international group based here in Kilkenny, presided by Murty, Brennan. We are a group of people trying to do good and only good.
Okay. So how many nationalities are in the group?
A good number of nationalities. We have people from South Sudan. We have people from Bengali people. We have people from Poland. There is a group of Romanians as well, with myself included. And also a good number of Irish people that are with us.
Would you tell us a little bit about what life is like for the older people in Romania?
Romania now, it is a bit different than Ireland is. Was under communism for a good period of time, and it took a long time to start living with democracy after that. And even now, mentality is still on the process of evolve, to put it that way. And as from the elderly point of view, I can share my own story. My mother is 81 years of age. And she's over there in Romania. I have two sisters and a brother that look after her, along with their husbands and my brother's wife. And they kind of shared responsibilities. What I can, obviously not being there, I can't do much. I can help with the bills during winter time and all that. But more than that, I can't do. But to keep in touch and keep her mood up. Speaking to her over the phone, and for instance, my elder sister, who is actually in kind of charge, being the oldest one, being the head of the family now. My father passed away in 2016. They looked very well after him as well. He passed away peacefully in his bedroom. I was lucky enough to make it at the time. I flew in and I spent his last hour of life, and was he's with the angels now. He's good. And now my mother is looked after, like I said, by my family back in Romania. My elder sister, for instance, is pretty much looking after her medication and taking her to the doctors to look after herself. The other sister is doing a lot of cleaning, but when it comes to for my mother, but when it comes to general cleaning, they all come in together and they do all that by. My brother works not too far from my mother's apartment, and because of that, sometimes for lunch he goes to her, keeps her company, eats there, and that they all go to put their shoulder together to make her comfortable. And practically she has at least one visit a day from a family member, and they cook. My brother and my sister, they obviously cook at home. There is a lot of home cooking going on over there. They like that kind of food. They take food from their house to my mother's to share with her every time. Even if they go for a barbecue, my mother can't go too far from the house. But if they go for a barbecue outdoors in the forest, they'll always bring a bit of barbecued meat to her. As a token, and they keep her spirit up that way.
And are there times when you can't care for a person at home? What would happen then?
My family is my mother is one of the lucky ones, having still children near her. There are a lot of older people that don't have their children near them because there's massive immigration now. A lot of people leave the country, young people. They leave and they can't look after their elderly. And if the older people get sick, they need medical attention. In that case, obviously, the old people will be in a hospital or setting the likes of nursing home.
Then they have to go to something.
Yeah, but that would be the last, how can I, the last, the last step. They won't go there to the nursing home unless there is no other way around it.
I have to ask about your shirt, and I believe it has a special connection for a day of celebration in Romania.
Yes, to my shame, I only found out this morning that Romania is celebrating. Today is the Romanian language celebration, and I thought it is only appropriate to put on the traditional blouse. It's called IE, as in IE, and believe it or not, there is Romanians celebrate the blouse as well. There is one day a year when it is celebrated, and everyone is wearing it, and everyone with pride. The Romanian language is started to be celebrated since 1990 in Republic of Moldova, which is a lost Romanian territory during the communism. It was a piece of Romania, a chunk of Romania that was that went to USSR. And after the USSR fell apart, they became a country of their own. It is called Republica Moldova now, and they speak Romanian. And in 1990, they decided to start celebrating the language. It was first our Romanian language, and then our language. It is celebrated by all Romanians now from surrounding countries in Romania. And but the thing is that all the other countries around Romania that have a Romanian community started to celebrate the language. And in Romania itself, only from 2013, there is a law. The government decided to make a law to make it official to be celebrated. Only in 2014. And yeah, that's, you know, like St. Patrick's, it is more popular abroad than...
Yeah, always the case.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Syed, thank you very much for joining us here for Positive Aging Week 2020.
My name is Syed Mystafizur Rahman. I am originally from Bangladesh. I live in Ireland for last 31 years, living in Kilkenny for about 26 or 27 years. And when I came to Kilkenny, I actually liked the place, liked the city, liked the people, was doing some business here, and then I decided to stay in Kilkenny.
Would you tell us a little bit about what life is like for the older generation in Bangladesh?
Yeah, in Bangladesh, the older people, most of them, I mean say 10% of the parents or grandparents, they actually care at home if they are sick or they are too old, and you know the old age difficulties. Even we don't leave them in the home or hospital. We try to care ourselves. If they need to go to hospital, then they goes. Otherwise, we don't abandon them. And is, you can say, 99.99% elderly people kept at home, looked after by their son and daughter or even grandson and daughters. And it's a shame if someone doesn't look after them. This is the socially they will be not treated well by the society. No. So it's a value, we can say. That's the family value. And that's, if someone said, I look after my parents, that's not something unusual. If someone said they don't, it is unusual. Yeah.
So it's something that is just, it's part of every community.
It is.
So important to look after our family.
It is, yes. It is. Everyone look after. Even like I myself, I live in Ireland for a long time. After me, there is so many people came to Ireland from Bangladesh, and what they do, just giving you a picture, that everyone who is earning money here, more or less, whatever, they send money to their parents, their brother, their sister, to home every month. It's not sometime, it's every month. It's their duty to send the money to home to look after their family. It's not the family only wife and children, also the parents, and if the brother, sister need money or need help, they do regular basis. Wow. I can tell you that. And a lot of people from Bangladesh, they live in Middle East. And in the Middle East, whatever wages they get, they keep some for themselves for everyday expenses. Rest of the money they send home to their father, and then the father keep the money, and then they will decide what to do for the entire family. If the person goes back home, then they share that, or if they want to buy a house or build a house, they do it together. That's the story about nearly everyone.
Thank you very much for telling us your story. Samuel, thank you very much for joining us here as part of Positive Aging Week 2020.
Morning. By name, I'm Samuel Morgan. I'm from South Sudan. And I came to Ireland in July 2008.
I was just wondering if you'd tell me how long you've been living in the Kilkenny area.
I've lived in Kilkenny for 11 years now. Yes.
You like it here?
I like it because the situation that forced me to leave my country is just horrible. And I thank the government of Ireland to have brought me as program refugee. And I've now become a citizen of this country.
And what is life like for the elders in your community? How are they cared for?
Well, in South Sudan, as I mentioned here, South Sudan has been in a war for quite a long time. And there is no development up to this time. And things like a nursing home is not there. So what happens is our family units, we keep our family units as it is, and the grown-up people is always cared for by the children. You know, back in Africa, it's very important for you to have your own children, because when you become old, they will be the one to look after you. So we look after our parents until such a time that they live this physical life. And we try our best to keep them happy. You know, our people there, they are so active because there is nothing called social welfare. You work for yourself. You provide food for yourself, for your family. So that makes us to be strong. We work all the time. Some people don't get job, so they have to till the land, cultivate, plant crops for their food, and the surplus is taken to the market to be sold so that they can get certain things. And this makes our grown-up people, you know, you'll see that somebody between 70, 80, 85, still strong, and not even liking to sit down all the day or sleeping in bed. They want to keep themselves active, especially with their hands. You'll see that an old person tries very hard to get something to do, to keep him going. Like even the old women, even if the children say, "Mommy, look, don't do that. Leave it. We can do it for you." We'll say, "No, leave me. Let me do it." Yeah, you'll find such a woman can go behind the house into the forest around, gathering firewood and bringing it. So that keeps them very strong and happy in the family. So that's why our elders, they feel happy. Children sit around them, they tell stories. It is actually another source of history, you know. They tell what they went through. They tell all the stories to the children. And you see every time in the evening, children make a fire. They bring a chair for the elderly person like that, have him sit, and then the person will tell stories. And the children enjoy, and they learn, you know. This is how we look after our elderly people in South Sudan in particular.
Monika, thank you so much for joining us here as part of Positive Aging Week 2020.
Hi, my name is Monika and I live in Waterford for the past 14 years. I'm originally from Poland and I'm very much involved in the Polish community in the past few years, mostly as an interpreter. And then I also am involved with Waterford Migrant Integration Forum, where I represent Polish community.
Will you tell us a little bit about the elder people in Poland and how they're cared for?
For the elderly in Poland, definitely they are very busy and very active. Okay. They are very much involved in a family life. They usually would take care of their grandchildren actively, yes, in a full time, really. And they would have their own group of friends, and there are lots of different programs running in Poland, keeping the seniors active, really, and bring them together so they can still give back to their community and share their values and their experiences, their hobbies.
So it seems like that they do as much as they can to encourage the elder people as well to be active.
Yes, definitely. There are different programs, here would be the age council, elderly people council. So that would be something. It would be more like on a local level. Yes.
And so then within the family, you also mentioned, say, like helping to look after the grandchildren. Would they live, say, maybe with one of the family, or would the grandchildren come to them, say?
So elder, like grandparents, yeah. They would be living independently in their own homes, and they would be all collecting the kids from schools or preschools, which is very common thing in Poland. And they would be all bringing them to their own place, or they would be just staying until the parents are back from work.
It sounds like a lovely community within the family as well, not just outside of the home, but within the family as well. There's a lovely community of support.
Yes, there is definitely. Definitely, it's very strong, and it's something that it's been there for years, and it keeps going. Definitely. So that would be something that is solved within the family, and not actually reaching out to get somebody from the outside to look after the kids, or somebody or any other member of the family. It stays within the family.
And are there ever occasions when an elderly person can't be cared for at home, and what would typically happen then?
Usually it is very advised and encouraged actually for the person to stay at home. And then the support and help is organized for them in the house, in their own home setting. So, for example, even if we look at the palliative care, for example, like hospice, that would be still happening in their home. So there would be person organized, like a nurse, doctor, a care assistant, or physiotherapist to come over to that person on a daily basis, or whatever it's advised. And the doctor would be on call, and there will be of course somebody from the family looking after that person 24 hours, but they will have a break from when other person comes, and the equipment will be given as well in a house. So they stay until the very end, really in their own, because it's better for them to stay in the place when they know where they are. It's familiar, and so that is very positive on their mental health as well, and eases, especially in those the last days, it eases all actually that mental pressure that they might feel in a very strange environment that they don't know and they are not aware of.
That's incredible. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. We really enjoyed it. Thank you, Monika, very much.